Today we're going to be doing the installation on an international box truck. We're going to cover the placement of the device, the wiring terminations, and completing the install. Let's get started. On an AT-V3, you will have 6 wires in the harness. The 3 wires will be your basic hookup. The red is your constant to battery source. Black is chassis ground or framework. And white is ignition source. It is a must that you hook up an ignition source. This performs a 10-second update when it's in motion. Now you will notice that there are 3 other wires. The white wire with the blue tracer is not used, so you can kick that out of the way. The green wire is actually an output source. You can use it as horn honk, unlock feature, or starter disable. The blue wire is classified as PTO or panic. That is used as an input. You can hook it to a switch, light bar, or anything else that you might have an idea for to hook up in your vehicle. Now the tools you're going to need is a computer safe test light. You want to make sure it's a computer safe test light that has a voltage meter. That way it doesn't interfere with anything like popping a code or an airbag in the vehicle. You want to be as safe as you can. Voltmeter, multimeter, some bits, star bits, torch bits, depending on your car. You never know what you're going to use. 7, 8, 10 millimeters. Those are the 3 sockets that you'll use. You might also use Ford radio keys, depending on the car and where you're placing it at. A hook tool, a screwdriver, a plastic pry tool, make sure it's plastic so it doesn't mar the dash, electrical tape, knife, crimpers, strippers, and a drill. Those should be all the tools that you'll need for the install. On this installation, we're going to be doing the driver's side of the dash. We're going to be pulling off the top side of the dash around the instrument cluster, and we're going to be making up the power connections down here at the key on the right side. So we're going to start with the top section. We're going to pull it off, get the unit mounted, we'll run the wires down, we'll make the power connections, we'll secure those, get the excess up, button the truck back up. That should be the installation. So basically the first step of the installation is going to be placing the device under the dash. Now you're looking for a non-obstructed view out of the vehicle. So once it's placed in there, it can be underneath fiberglass, plastic of most dashes, as long as it is not below any metal surface that will obstruct the view. So what we're going to do is we're going to place it behind the instrument cluster of this vehicle. The unit will fit firmly right up in the top. So we're going to pull this trim piece off, get access to it, and get the unit back behind the dash. Just be careful as you're pulling the pieces off. They do have clips. Make sure you don't scratch any part of the instrument cluster. And just pop the unit right off. Now once we have access to this, we can run the cable up through. You might have to pull the corner of the dash off or instrument cluster. But we're going to place the unit right back here so it is out of the way, hidden, and nobody can get to it. Then we can take the wire and run it down and make our connections up at the key cylinder. Once you remove the plastic part of the dash, you're going to remove 4 T20 screws holding the instrument cluster on. There's 2 on each side. 1 top, 1 bottom, both right side, and they are T20 bits. Once you get all 4 of those out, you will be able to move the instrument cluster back to hide the GPS behind it. This allows us access to get the unit mounted securely so it is out of the way. On the device itself, this is the antenna side. It is recommended to face this standing up. If you cannot, it will be okay laying down, just as long as we can get the best possible view of the sky from inside the vehicle. Now behind here is just an AC vent, so running a short screw into the plastic will be just fine. That way it secures the device to the dash. So as we're putting the top section back together, we'll secure everything here. We'll move down to the bottom side of the dash to the key cylinder. That's where we're going to make up our power connections, both 12 volt constant an ignition source. We will also ground our ground wire down there to the framework chassis so we have a good ground. So once you come behind the key cylinder and release it from the back, you're going to pull it down. There's going to be a 4-pin plug. The left plug, red wire, is a 12-volt constant wire. That's what the red wire of the GPS is going to connect to. The right side is the pink. That's the ignition source. That's what the white wire off the GPS will connect to. Let's go ahead and make the connections. If you're using the T-taps, which is a quick and easy install, just go ahead and place it around the wire and secure it. Once it clicks, you'll know that it's in there. Let's do the same thing to the ignition side. Now they're both secure. We can go ahead and wire up the GPS side of it. As the wires are fairly small, you can always fold them over and place your connector right on it. And make sure you get a good secure connection. Now the red wire is the constant 12 volt. That's going to go to the red wire of the plug. That is our 12 volt constant. That's a constant feed to give the GPS power and battery backup. The white wire is the ignition source. That allows it to do 10-second updates and lets you know when the vehicle is running or sitting at idle. So we'll go ahead and get that secured. And this goes to the pink side of the plug. Now we have our 12 volt constant and our ignition source set up. We can plug this back into the key cylinder and make up our ground connection. Once you have your power connections made, we're going to make up the ground. It's recommended to use a ring terminal. It is always recommended to use framework or chassis of the vehicle. If you can find frame railing or solid structure under the dash, it's recommended to use a zinc plated screw. That way you do not have any contamination of paint, and once you secure into any metal structure, it will be metal to metal surface to cause the ground surface that you need to make a good ground connection. So now that we have the installation completed, we've gone over everything on the truck, make sure it's buttoned back up, put back together. If you have any questions regarding the install or the installation process, you can call our tech support line, 405-726-9900. Have a good day.